I worked as a night guard at a shopping mall. To most, it sounds like an easy job. It was simple, just making sure everything stayed secure overnight. But there was a catch. The rules. I was handed a sheet when I started, something so detailed it felt almost like a survival guide. It was full of strange instructions, guidelines that, at first, seemed like common sense. Things like no eating in restricted areas and lock all doors before leaving. But then there were the odd ones. The ones that made my stomach turn. One stood out more than the rest. Never, under any circumstances, go to floor 3. I thought it was just another weird mall rule. But that night, when everything went quiet, I saw something on the security monitors that made me break the rule. What I saw, well, it changed everything. I wasn't looking for a high-stakes, adrenaline-filled job. I just needed something simple, something that could pay the bills. The constant pressure of having no money, of figuring out how to pay rent, how to buy groceries, it was weighing me down. And then, the night guard position at the mall opened up. The hours were long, from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. The pay wasn't great, but it was a paycheck. The work itself was simple: walk around the mall, make sure the doors were locked, check the security cameras, and keep an eye out for any strange activity. Easy, right? It was peaceful, or at least that's how I convinced myself at first. The mall was silent at night, and it gave me time to think, to be alone with my thoughts. It wasn't what I expected, though. The quiet was overwhelming. And it was in that quiet where I began to notice things, strange things. The first day I arrived, the supervisor, a stern man named John, handed me a sheet. "Read these rules," he said. "Follow them. They're for your safety." I looked it over. Some were just the usual security procedures. Always ensure all doors are locked before you leave. Check every room every hour. Fine, simple stuff. But then there were the odd rules. The ones that didn't quite make sense. Never, under any circumstances, go to floor 3. I asked him about it, but he only gave me a tight smile and said, "Just follow the rules, and you'll be fine." Another one read, "If you see a mannequin move, do not approach it. Do not acknowledge it. Pretend like you didn't see it." I shrugged it off at first, assuming it was just some quirky rules for the sake of protocol. But then I saw something else on the sheet. A last rule, which made my stomach twist with unease. Rule number 5. Never, under any circumstances, engage with anyone who isn't supposed to be there. If someone calls your name after 2 a.m., ignore it. If they approach you, do not make eye contact. I felt my unease grow. Who would call my name at that hour? What was going on in this mall that required such strict rules? My first few nights were uneventful. The hours dragged on as I walked the mall's long, silent corridors, checked the locked doors, and watched the empty stores on the security monitors. But that night, something changed. Around 10:30, I noticed something strange on the CCTV feed. The camera at the far end of floor 3 flickered. It was hard to tell at first, but then, for a brief second, I saw something. It wasn't clear. A shadow, a figure, something standing still in the farthest corner of the floor. But I knew the rule: never, under any circumstances, go to floor 3. I shook my head and turned away from the screen. But the image stayed with me. The curiosity grew. Why did they keep saying that? What was on floor 3? At 1 a.m., I found myself standing in front of the elevator, staring at the button that would take me up to floor 3. I hesitated. Should I follow the rule, or break it and find out what was really there? My curiosity won. I pressed the button. The elevator doors slid open. I stepped inside, my heart pounding. I knew I shouldn't be doing this. But something inside me just had to know. I pressed the button for the 3rd floor. As the elevator ascended, I could feel the temperature drop. The air became heavy, almost thick. It was strange, like the entire mall was holding its breath. When the elevator doors opened, I stepped out into an entirely different world. Floor 3 was nothing like the rest of the mall. The lights were dim, flickering. The usual hustle and bustle of the mall was gone, replaced by an eerie silence. The floor was almost completely empty, save for a few scattered mannequins. But there was something strange about them. Their faces were all blank, featureless. No eyes, no noses, just smooth porcelain. I walked through the hall, feeling the weight of every step. My flashlight illuminated the dark corners, casting long shadows on the walls. Then I heard it, a faint whisper. It came from behind me. I spun around, but there was no one there. I felt my skin crawl. I quickly checked the time. It was 2:30 a.m. According to the rules, I should have been heading back down, but something else caught my attention. A figure, standing still in the middle of the hallway, dressed in a long, dark coat. Its face was hidden beneath a shadow. I should have run. I should have left. But I took a step forward, drawn to the figure like a moth to a flame. The figure didn't move. It just stood there, still and silent. I moved closer, my heart pounding in my chest. I could barely breathe. I felt like I was walking toward a disaster. Then the figure turned. Slowly, deliberately. It didn't speak. But its face was not human. It was one of the mannequins, its smooth, blank face staring at me. I froze in place, my eyes locked with the mannequin's. And that was when I heard the voice. "You're not supposed to be here." Panic surged through my body, making my legs feel weak. I turned and ran. My heart was racing as I darted down the hallway, the sound of my footsteps echoing in the silence. I could feel the air growing colder with each step. It was as though the very building itself was alive and suffocating me. I made it to the elevator. My hand shook as I pressed the button, but nothing happened. The doors didn't open. I turned. The figure was gone, but I could still feel it, the presence. The air was thick with something I couldn't understand. Then I remembered the final rule. Do not make eye contact. My mind raced. I couldn't stay here. I couldn't wait for the elevator. I had to get out. I closed my eyes. It was the only thing I could think of. When I opened them again, the elevator doors were finally open. I never went back to floor 3. I left the job shortly after that night. They tried to offer me more shifts, but I couldn't go back. The whispers still echo in my mind. I think about what happened on floor 3, but mostly I think about the rules. They weren't just there to keep me safe. They were there to keep me away from something dangerous. And the thing that haunts me the most is the voice I heard. You're not supposed to be here. I don't know what happened to the others who worked there before me. But I know this. If you ever find yourself in a mall at night and the rules start to feel strange, don't break them. Not even once. Because once you do, it's already too late.